Let's see, which graphics card is better if you want to play the latest AAA games at 1440p resolution? Is it the RX 7900 GRE or is it the RTX 4070 Super? In this video we'll be focusing on testing native resolution, so no FSR and no DLSS, because if you do want to use resolution upscaling, then there is no competition between these two graphics cards. NVIDIA's RTX 4070 Super with its DLSS technology wins outright. I've already covered multiple times why I think AMD's FSR is simply not good enough to use, so I just don't want to waste any more of your time. If you are new to the channel, then you can check out those videos where I talk about it in the description below. I'll leave some links. And today we won't be using frame generation either, because once again NVIDIA just wins outright, because NVIDIA's DLSS frame generation is in every latest AAA game, while AMD's FSR is rarely getting adopted in the latest games. The PC that we'll be using today as a test platform is equipped with the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU. And we'll be experiencing games today on the Gigabyte M27Q 1440p 165Hz monitor. Do you need a new Windows license key like I do right here with my new PC build? Then I have a great solution for you. Over the last 3 years, I've saved a lot of money by buying my Windows keys from cdkeyoffer.com. Allow me to demonstrate. I will be going for Windows 11 Pro. So just click on Buy Now. Then use my discount code IVADIM, hit apply, and that brings the price down to $22. After that, you just submit the order and select the payment method you wish to use. I will be going with the safe and fast PayPal payment, so you just press Pay Now. Once you're done with your payment, you will be redirected back to CDK Offer. And that's your order complete. Now you can go to User Center. Actually, it will redirect you there, where you can just grab your key by pressing View Key Code, Get Key, and then copy it. Then you can use your search bar to quickly bring up activation settings, change key, insert that key, hit Next, activate, wait a few seconds, and there you go. Now you have your Windows activated and ready to use for a fraction of the cost that you would normally pay. Get yours now at the link in the description below. And by the way, you may have noticed that they also have other Microsoft software, including Office 2019 and Office 2016. Don't forget to use my discount code if you want to grab any of those. The RX 7900 GRE in a normal gaming scenario consumes between 280 to 300 watts of power. The RTX 4070 Super, on the other hand, typically consumes around 200 watts of power whilst gaming. Let's start our testing with the RX 7900 GRE in Hellblade 2. This is the most recently released AAA title that is also very demanding. This game has ray tracing and it is built in Unreal Engine 5 using all of its latest features. We have 1440p resolution selected, TSR is used as our anti-aliasing, and graphics preset is set to high. It is the highest in this game and it does include ray tracing enabled. And this forest in front of us is one of the most demanding areas in the game. We are getting 50 plus FPS, and as we descend further into the forest, sometimes we see the FPS drop below 50. That's 49 I've seen just then, 48, 47. Yeah, while it's still okay for such a slow-paced game, it's not ideal, is it? I really prefer playing this game at 60 FPS consistently. We can improve the performance by lowering graphics preset down to medium. And indeed, that does help a lot. Take a look at that performance, 70 plus FPS, and the graphics are still beautiful. Yeah, this game on medium looks amazing. I would say better than most games look on ultra or very high these days. So very easily you can lock your FPS at 60 when playing on medium and enjoy Hellblade 2 at 1440p resolution native. Now let's see how the RTX 4070 Super stacks up against the RX 7900 GRE in Hellblade 2. We're at 1440p native using TSR and high graphics preset. And in the same location where the 7900 GRE delivered around 50 FPS on the same graphics preset, the 4070 Super delivers 45, 43. Yeah, so it is not as good in terms of raw performance, and that is quite disappointing because the GPU is still fully loaded and the CPU is working fine. However, there is silver lining, because TSR is not perfect. In terms of anti-aliasing, TSR leaves a lot to be desired, especially when we look at thin items such as branches. Yeah, it's not great. Compared to TSR anti-aliasing, NVIDIA's DLAA is doing a better job in my opinion. And since DLAA is built into DLSS, we can select the DLSS Quality mode and still get a better image quality compared to TSR at native resolution. Those branches look much better now. There is no flickering anymore. And the performance is better. So yeah, that's the power of DLSS. Unfortunately, FSR cannot deliver the same kind of quality. Just imagine, if FSR was able to deliver the same kind of quality that DLSS delivers, then we would have a much better experience at a much lower price with the 7900 GRE. That would have been perfect. So that's why I advocate for AMD to actually improve FSR. Because take a look at this. We're getting well above 60 FPS in one of the most demanding games, in one of the most demanding areas of that game. This is amazing. That is why I always say that resolution upscaling is the future. It is one of the most important features for any graphics card in 2024 going forward. Because how can you say no to improved performance as well as improved image quality compared to native? Let me know in the comments, what do you think about resolution upscaling technologies? Do you like them? Do you use them? Let me know. And to be fair, let's also try medium graphics preset on the RTX 4070 Super. At native resolution, TSR is enabled, so no resolution upscaling for this test. And there you go. 60 plus FPS experience in the same area. So yeah, you can either turn on DLSS quality and get better image quality than with a native TSR and still get all of the benefits that come with playing using high graphics preset, or you can keep native resolution, TSR enabled, and lower graphics quality to medium. I know which option I'm choosing, but what about you? Which option would you choose? We are back with the RX 7900 GRE, and this is Alan Wake 2. We are using 1440p native on high graphics quality preset, and ray tracing is turned off. Well, let's start with the most graphically demanding area of the game right away. We are in the forest. And the performance is pretty good. We're getting close to 60 FPS, which is mighty impressive for this scene. We do get dips close to 50. That was 51, 52 just then. So there might be times when we drop below 50. But this is the worst case scenario. Whoa, and the VRAM counter inside of my CapFrame X is going nuts. Look at that, 45 gigabytes VRAM usage. So completely ignore that one. Look at the one over here in the bottom right corner. The game uses almost 10 gigabytes of video memory right now. In other locations the FPS is much higher, 70 plus right now inside of this building. However, I just wanted to let you know that there is one problem that I'm spotting, And I'm really interested to see if the RTX 4070 Super experiences the same thing. So what I'm talking about is that there's a lot of noise happening where lighting hits the textures, like surface textures right here. Is that kind of a film grain kind of effect, but that is just noise because we don't have any effects turned on. So film grain, motion blur, and lens distortion, all of those are off right now, and that is just pure noise. And that noise is present in other locations as well, like over here on the walls. It gets really bad actually. But let's take a look at the performance outside. Yep, this is pretty good. 80 FPS, 86, very nice. And the video memory counter goes nuts. Take a look at that. 62 gigabytes, but in reality the usage is 9.8 gigabytes. So don't always trust that statistic. The RX 7900 GRE is actually the first graphics card I'm using that suffers from this kind of problem with reporting VRAM in the CapFrameX software. This monitoring issue did not happen with RTX 30 series as well as RTX 40 series cards for me. Now let's see if we can use at least medium ray tracing preset. And I would say that this is a big no. Big, massive, fat no. You cannot use ray tracing even set to medium graphics preset on this graphics card. In this game at 1440p, you'll be getting 20 plus FPS experience. Well, it's pretty cinematic because it's 24 FPS, but I don't think any of us want to play this game like that. Especially since there are FPS drops below 20 from time to time. And this is not the most graphically demanding scene. Once we get closer to vegetation, oh, there we go, 16, 15, 14, 13 FPS. Oh, that is nuts. Yeah, not very nice. And VRAM usage with ray tracing enabled on the 7900 GRE is 12.4 gigabytes. Now let's see what the 4070 Super has to offer in Alan Wake 2. We're at native 1440p resolution here, but compared to AMD's graphics card, we're using NVIDIA's DLAA anti-aliasing solution. Graphics preset is set to high, and ray tracing is disabled for now. And in the same area where the 7900 GRE delivered well above 50 FPS, the 4070 Super is barely delivering 50 and sometimes even drops below 50, like in this one right here, 46, 48 FPS. So yeah, once more, the 7900 GRE wins in terms of raw rasterization performance. However, in both cases you do need to fall back on resolution upscaling to get this game to play at 60 plus FPS consistently. So let's select DLSS Quality mode and take a look at the performance. And that completely solves the issue, 60 plus FPS consistent, and the image is nice and smooth. But let's go back to native resolution and load into the town area. And here the 4070 Super delivers a consistent 60 plus FPS experience. Even when we go outside, yeah, 70 plus now, oh, 69, nice. This right here is the performance that you'll see across most levels of the game. That forest area is a one-off, so you won't see that horrible performance all the time in this game. Now let's see if the NVIDIA graphics card suffers from the same kind of noise issues as AMD. And yeah, I can still see a lot of noise left by that lighting on the surface. However, it is slightly better. Not miles better, but it is slightly better. Still, I do not like how this noise is just there. And in this corner right here, yep, there's still a lot of noise in that lighting. But once again, it is slightly better than what we've seen on the 7900 GRE AMD graphics card. Now I want to see how the native resolution plus DLAA anti-aliasing compares to NVIDIA's DLSS Quality mode. And I'm going to use those wires as an example. And yeah, on DLAA they look fine, but at certain angles, like this one here, I can still see that there are some issues, jaggies are happening, and the FPS is at around 70-ish. Now let's enable DLSS quality, so that's 960p upscaled to 1440p. And the image quality is very comparable to the native plus DLAA. I can't spot any difference whatsoever. Even that wire over there, it is still pretty much the same. Although jaggies are a little bit smoother, so that is interesting. Actually, once again, I prefer DLSS quality mode over native plus DLAA. This is really strange. Probably has something to do with the fact that DLSS image is a little bit softer, but you know what? I prefer this look over the native, because those jaggies are very annoying and they can break my immersion, but once the image is nice and stable, I can enjoy the game. And take a look at the performance once more. It's over 100 FPS, beautiful. We can lock the FPS at 90 and enjoy the gameplay like that. Now let's go back to native 1440p and try Ray Tracing medium preset. And this is actually not bad. Take a look at this. Well above 30 FPS, even goes above 40 from time to time. Yeah, in this particular game, ray tracing performance is much better on the 4070 Super, because with the 7900 GRE we had something like 20 plus FPS in this particular area. That is a huge difference. But once we get closer to the forest, that FPS does drop. 28, 27. Still, in this area right here, the FPS is still higher than what we've had on the 7900 GRE in the less demanding area over there. And the thing is that if you do want to use ray tracing and enjoy the game in its full glory, then you can use DLSS to boost that performance. Let's select quality mode and take a look at the FPS. And there you go, 60 plus FPS in the town. And let's go back inside, take a look at the performance indoors. 55, 56, it is still fine, it feels okay. Obviously I prefer to have consistent 60 plus FPS, but 50 plus FPS also feels okay. However, in the forest area, this is not enough, because we're getting 30 plus FPS. This is not very nice. And even DLSS set to quality mode cannot help us. So yeah, you will have to either turn off ray tracing when you enter certain areas of the game, like this forest right here. Or maybe we can go to DLSS balanced. Let's take a look if that will help. Nope, that doesn't help much. We're still below 40 FPS. So it is less than ideal. But if we throw in DLSS frame generation into the mix, then maybe, just maybe, we can get a playable experience here. Yes, I've reset those FPS stats. And yeah, this is fine. So basically you can use DLSS and frame generation to make the game playable once more, even with ray tracing set to medium quality. And ray tracing on medium quality is the way I like playing this game on the lower tier graphics cards, because low preset is just, it doesn't look good. It's not worth it. And high preset, while it is nice, It is a little bit more demanding. Medium ray tracing preset is a good sweet spot. And let's try DLSS quality mode with frame generation. Because let's face it, DLSS balanced mode at 1440p doesn't look as nice as quality. Because DLSS quality sometimes looks even better than native resolution. However, at balanced, we start seeing degradation in the finer details of the image. And check it out. We don't even need DLSS on balanced. DLSS on quality plus frame generation works absolutely fine. Now we are back with the RX 7900 GRE in Ghost of Tsushima. 1440p resolution, and we're using TAA. As for the graphics settings, I'm using very high graphics preset with field of view increased to the absolute maximum. This game is much less demanding than Hellblade 2, and that's why we see 90 plus FPS experience, even in such a demanding area of the game. Yeah, so basically you can just lock your FPS at 90 and enjoy a smooth gameplay. But even if you don't lock your FPS, the performance is still very smooth. Take a look at that frame time graph and the frame rate. Nice and smooth. Also, I think that VRAM analytics is broken, so take a look at the one in the corner. That's the AMD statistics, and it shows 9.6 gigabytes video memory used. This is a beautiful experience, amazing game. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. And as you can see in other areas, the performance is exceeding 100 FPS. And lastly, let's take a look at the 4070 Super performance in Ghost of Tsushima at 1440p resolution native, so TAA is used for anti-aliasing, no frame generation, no upscaling. And we're still on very high preset with field of view increased to the maximum. And in the same area where the 7900 GRE delivered a consistent 90 plus FPS experience, the 4070 Super is once more slightly less powerful at 80 plus FPS. And this is another game where I don't like how TAA implementation of anti-aliasing looks like, and the DLSS even set to quality mode looks much better than TAA native resolution 1440p. And of course DLSS upscaling brings performance improvements, so we are now getting well above 100 FPS in this area right here. And the GPU is actually not fully loaded, it's something like 97-98%, so that's when we start seeing CPU bottlenecking in this particular game. But we're not losing a lot of performance, even with the 7600X. You can still lock your FPS at 120 and enjoy the game like that, because there will be quite a lot of areas in the game where you will be able to hit that 120 target. But having a better and faster CPU would definitely help a little bit if you're planning to use DLSS upscaling. If you want to see why I hate using AMD's FSR in this particular game, I'll have a video linked in the description below. So yeah, there are quite a few problems with the image quality when you enable AMD's FSR in this game. Fortunately, DLSS has none of those problems, and I am actually using the 4070 Super graphics card to play this game at 4K resolution using DLSS balanced mode. I've already clocked about 20 plus hours in the game, so that just tells you everything you need to know about how I enjoy DLSS and how good it is. In conclusion, if for some reason you are absolutely opposed to using DLSS upscaling, then the RX 7900 GRE is actually the better deal compared to the 4070 Super, because that graphics card is a little bit more expensive than the 7900 GRE, which delivers better performance if we're talking about like raw rasterization performance. However, as you've seen with Alan Wake 2, the 7900 GRE does suffer from kind of inconsistent ray tracing performance. For example, in Hellblade 2, that also has ray tracing, it performed better than the 4070 Super, but in Alan Wake 2, it performed way worse, like 2 times worse. And that is a common theme across many games. Sometimes AMD's graphics cards are on par with NVIDIA's graphics cards in terms of ray tracing, but sometimes you see those games that are absolutely horribly performing on the AMD graphics cards. Personally, I prefer using the 4070 Super with DLSS. Even at 1440p resolution, DLSS set to quality mode looks better than native resolution with TSR or TAA anti-aliasing solutions. And you get extra performance, so what's not to like? I'm really looking forward to the future where AMD is actually competitive in terms of FSR resolution upscaling compared to NVIDIA's DLSS, because competition is good, and this is a great graphics card. But it is not for me, because I like resolution upscaling. But if you don't want to use upscalers, then this is a good solution for you, because it is cheaper and it has 16 GB of video memory. It is always good to have that little bit of extra memory. But 12 GB on the 4070 Super is not a problem at all, because all of the games that are coming out are being optimized for NVIDIA graphics cards, because they hold a massive share. And if game developers want their games to sell, then they have to do it. I'm not saying that 12 GB is good. I'd very much prefer to have 16 GB of memory on this graphics card, so that game developers could increase textures quality in the games. That is my opinion on the topic, but what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Are you going to choose the 7900 GRE or the 4070 Super? And as always, if you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them at my Amazon links in the description below. Those smart links will automatically direct you to your local Amazon web store. If this video was helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.